Not dangerous like a threat. Dangerous like a man who can no longer be ignored. Dangerous like a man who walked into a room and shifted the energy without saying a word. Dangerous like a man who other men measure themselves against and come up short. Most men will never become this. Not because they lack talent, not because life didn't give them a chance, but because they never committed to the work long enough to feel the shift happen inside them. But some of you watching this, something is changing. You feel it. You're quieter than you used to be, harder to provoke, more focused, less interested in things that used to waste your time. That's not a coincidence. That's the signs. Today, I'm breaking down the exact signs that you are becoming a dangerous man, in the best possible sense of that word. If these signs describe you, you're on the right path. Keep going. If they don't, pay attention. This is the blueprint. Smash like, subscribe for more Sigma mindset content, and let's get into it. Let's define what a dangerous man actually is. Because dangerous doesn't mean aggressive. It doesn't mean intimidating, cold, or antisocial. A dangerous man is one who has developed himself to a level where he operates differently from the average. He thinks more clearly, moves more deliberately, reacts less, produces more. He has built something inside himself that most people can feel but can't name. A quiet, unshakable competence. An aura that says, without arrogance, without performance, I have done the work and I will keep doing it. That is what makes a man dangerous. Not what he has, not who he knows. What he has built inside himself that no one can take away. Sign 1, you've stopped explaining yourself. There was a time when you felt the need to justify your decisions, your choices, your lifestyle, your standards, your direction. To your family, your friends, people online, anyone who questioned you. But something changed. You stopped. Not out of arrogance, not because you stopped caring about people, but because you realized something fundamental. A man who knows who he is doesn't need anyone else to confirm it. The dangerous man makes his decisions, lives by his values, moves in his direction. And when someone questions it, he doesn't argue, doesn't defend, doesn't explain. He just continues. That quiet self-certainty, that unshakable sense of identity that doesn't require external validation, is one of the rarest things a man can develop. And one of the most powerful. Sign 2, silence no longer makes you uncomfortable. The average man fills every silence. With words, with his phone, with noise, with anything that keeps him from sitting alone with himself. Because silence forces confrontation with your own thoughts, your own doubts, your own reality. And most men aren't ready for that. But you've changed. You can sit in a room alone, no phone, no music, no distraction, and be completely at ease. You can be in a conversation and let silence stretch without rushing to fill it. You can hold eye contact through an awkward pause without flinching. This is not a small thing. The ability to be fully present in silence means your sense of self is no longer dependent on external noise to exist. You are grounded internally, and a grounded man is an unshakable man. That is dangerous. Sign 3, you've become selective about everything. Your time, your energy, your circle, your conversations, what you consume, who you allow close. The average man says yes to almost everything because he's afraid of missing out, afraid of rejection, afraid of being seen as difficult. But you've started saying no. Not aggressively, not rudely. Just clearly, calmly, without guilt. Because you now understand that every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right one. Every hour spent on low-value activity is an hour stolen from high-value work. Every person allowed into your circle who drains instead of builds costs you in ways you can't always see but always feel. The dangerous man is not antisocial, he is intentional. He curates his life like a man who understands that his attention is the most valuable currency he has. Selectivity is not arrogance. It is self-respect in action. Sign 4, you no longer react, you respond. Someone disrespects you, something goes wrong, a plan falls apart, someone tries to provoke you. The old version of you reacted. Immediately, emotionally, from a place of ego or fear. But now there's a pause. A breath, a split second where you choose your response instead of defaulting to your reflex. That pause is everything. It is the difference between a man controlled by his emotions and a man who controls them. Psychologists call this the stimulus-response gap, and the ability to widen that gap under real pressure, in real time, is one of the defining traits of high-functioning, psychologically mature men. It is extraordinarily rare. When people try to move you and you don't move, they feel it. They don't always know what it is, but they feel it. And they treat you differently because of it. That is power, quiet, unshakable, dangerous power. Sign 5, you've stopped competing with other men and started competing with yourself. There was a time when you measured yourself against others. Who's making more money, who's further ahead, who has what you want. That comparison was exhausting, and it was keeping you stuck, always measuring, never building. But something shifted. You stopped looking sideways. Now the only scorecard that matters is the one between who you were yesterday and who you are today. Did you train harder, think clearer, show up better, waste less time, build more deliberately? That internal competition, quiet, private, relentless, is what separates men who grow from men who just watch others grow. The dangerous man is not threatened by other men's success. He's inspired by it. Because he knows that another man's win is proof that the level he's aiming for is real and reachable. He uses it as fuel, not as a wound. That mindset shift, from external comparison to internal competition, is one of the clearest signs that you are becoming something most men never will be. Sign 6, your standards have risen and you enforce them even when it costs you. This is the sign that separates the men who talk about self-improvement from the men who actually live it. Anyone can raise their standards in theory. But the dangerous man raised his and then held them. Even when it meant losing a friendship that was pulling him backward. Even when it meant walking away from an opportunity that wasn't aligned. Even when it meant disappointing people who expected the old version of him. Standards only mean something when they cost you something. Otherwise, they're just preferences. The man who has paid the price to keep his standards, who has chosen growth over comfort, integrity over approval, long-term over easy, carries that in how he moves. People feel it without being told. They sense that this man does not compromise on who he is. And that makes him rare. And rare things command respect. Here's what all these signs have in common. They are not things you perform. They are things you become through months and years of quiet, unglamorous, consistent work on yourself. The dangerous man was not born. He was built. Rep by rep, choice by choice, day by day. Every morning he showed up when he didn't feel like it. Every time he chose the hard thing over the easy one. Every moment he held his standard when it would have been easier to drop it. That accumulation, invisible to everyone watching, is what creates the presence people feel when he walks in a room. You cannot fake it. You cannot buy it. You cannot shortcut it. You can only build it. And if the signs in this video are starting to describe you, you're already building it. So here are the signs you're becoming dangerous. 1. You've stopped explaining yourself. 2. Silence no longer makes you uncomfortable. 3. You've become selective about everything. 4. You no longer react, you respond. 5. You've stopped competing with other men and started competing with yourself. 6. Your standards have risen, and you held them even when it cost you. If most of these describe you, keep going. You're closer than you think. If some of them don't yet, now you know exactly what to work on. This is not a destination, it's a direction. And the man who stays pointed in this direction, consistently, quietly, without needing anyone to notice, becomes someone impossible to ignore. Like this video if you felt these signs in yourself. Subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll keep building this with you. You don't announce that you're dangerous. You just become it. I'll see you at the top.